Let us continue with our law of evidence. It is important for you as an attorney or a prosecutor to know types of guns. I've told you now about the shotgun. Let me tell you about the revolver. The revolver is called the .38 special, or say let's say 3.8 revolver. It was used by police in our times during those years in the 70s. Black people were not allowed to carry the one called the parabellum, 9mm parabellum. They were only given the revolver because the police then, the bosses in the police force could not trust black people with guns. The guns might be taken by the enemy and used against them. So they will be given the .38, which is the revolver. The revolver is that type of gun that has got a wheel. For you to load the wheel, you will just take the gun and push the wheel to the side, and so that it's exposed. Then you will fit in your 6 bullets in the wheel. That is called a revolver. It's called a revolver because when it shoots, that wheel goes around. It goes around and be in line with the hammer so that it can shoot. And then once you've shot, it will then go around again and bring another bullet. And then if you pull the trigger, the hammer will hit on the bullet and shoot again. And then once you've done that, it goes around again until when you shoot again, it will make that sound, which means there is no longer another bullet because it just goes around. You can hit the bullets over and over again, but once the projectile has been ejected or the bullet has been ejected, then if you hit, there's no firing. Then you know your bullets are finished. Then what do? It does not eject the bullets automatically like a pistol or a parabellum. It will you will have then to move the wheel, right, the revolving wheel to the side again, and then you will unload then unload the cartridges and reload again. That's how it worked. But with the pistol, which is also called the parabellum, this one that is used by police now, that one has got what is called a magazine. So that's the difference. There's a wheel. Instead of a magazine, there's a wheel where you will fit in your bullets. But with the pistol, there is a magazine. What you do when you know you're going on combat, you're going, say, you know that there's somebody who's armed, so you can carry about 4 magazines. 4 magazines. With the pistol, there will be 8 bullets or rounds in the magazine. You will fill it with 8 rounds, and what you'll do, you will shoot. Once your 8 rounds are finished, you take another magazine, you fit it, and you start shooting. You do the same thing until all your magazines are finished. That's the difference. And when you shoot that gun, the cartridges will be ejected, right? It will be ejected. It's called the 9mm. The actual 9mm actually stands for the diameter of the lead or the bullet, that projectile that comes out to go and kill someone. That is called the bullet, and the diameter will be 9mm. That is why it is called 9mm. Although the base, which is now the back part of the round, will be a bit bigger. It's normally 9.6 with the 9mm, right? And in our time, there was also a gun called an R1. That was the most trusted gun which was used. It was used by the police, but it was an army rifle that was used by the then apartheid government, because when they were fighting the MK guerrillas, they would prefer to shoot them from a distance. They will use what is called reconnaissance, where they will detect them coming from a distance using telescope, and they will shoot them from a distance. One thing good about the R1 is that it is effective in a distance, right? It is effective. You can shoot a person something like a kilometer away from you and still kill that person. Unlike other guns, they are only effective if a person is 50 meters away from you, right? Then you can kill. If it's further than that, you may not kill a person. I can just injure that person, with the other guns. But the R1 was that. So they had improved it to there's R4, there's also R5 from R1, right? So yes, and they've got larger bullets, and although the diameter is not that big, it's more sharp, but it's quite a big bullet, right? It's effective. It causes, even if you shoot a person, you will see the entry is like somebody was stabbed. It forms that sort of stabbing, like a cut, but very deep cut. Right, that is now the R1. And there's also another gun called the Z88. It's normally used by thugs. Everybody, especially taxi people, they use that Z88. A Z88 is like the Parabellum, or is also a pistol. It's called Z88 because it came to service. Let me say it was manufactured in 1988 by a company called Denel in South Africa. That is why it is called. It's called Z88. It's actually copied from a gun called the Beretta from Italy. It's the same thing, but now it's called Z8. But they've done, they have modified it in such that in South Africa, and that such that now its bullet, once it touches the target, it explodes. So if it enters you, it will enter and then immediately explode in your body, so that you don't stand a chance to survive it, right? Even if you are at a distance, it will shoot you. Once it gets into you, it then explodes. It's called the Z88 projectile. Okay, and its speed is it's 350 meters per second. It travels 350 meters per second, unlike the .38, right? The .38, it travels 240 meters per second, right? But it's also quite effective. It kills, right? That travel, that speed is called the ballistic performance, right? Hence, I told you about the ballistic, that the ballistic will be the grooves, right? That gives it the speed. The speed is caused by the grooves within the barrel. That's what gives you the speed, and therefore it's called the ballistic performance. That is not the speed in which it travels to its target. Okay, now let us talk about a scenario where a person is killed and bent. Now it is important for you as an attorney or a prosecutor to determine whether the person died, was bent while still alive, or the person was bent after death. You must be able to determine that. How do you determine that? If a person was bent alive, when a postmortem is done, because you see in the lungs there is no blood, there's only air in the lungs. No blood at all, only air. Okay, so you will be able to see the smoke, right? The smoke is usually black, so the black stuff in the lungs. Then you will know that when the person was bent, that person was still breathing, because you can see what the smoke in the lungs. But if you don't see this, if you don't see the smoke in the lungs, then you must know that that person was killed. After he had died, he was then burnt. So that's the difference. Okay, let's end there before the cock crows.